There is a moment every land steward encounters when a patch of soil reveals the truth about the health of an entire homestead. For me, it happened in a corner of a bed that had been stubborn for years. It had the dull colour of spent earth, the kind that, well, resists every shovel strike and returns every seed with a shrug. I had tried amendments, rotation, even resting it completely. Nothing changed. Then, one season, almost by accident, a single weed altered that entire bed in ways that felt closer to an old-world field experiment than modern gardening. It was a weed many of us pull, toss aside, and forget. But I buried it, whole, and over the following weeks the soil darkened, softened, and took on the rich character farmers chase for decades. What happened has roots in historical husbandry as much as in modern microbiology, and the process is simple enough that anyone watching can use it today to rehab dead soil quietly and steadily. The weed that transforms soil is comfrey because of its nutrient storage and decomposition behaviour. Across history, especially in European and Asian agricultural traditions, comfrey was known as a bone-knit plant, not only for its medicinal uses, but also for its ability to pull minerals from deep layers of subsoil. Its taproot drills down where most vegetables never reach, drawing potassium, calcium, nitrogen and trace micronutrients into its leaves. When those leaves are returned to the ground intact, they deliver the stored minerals directly into the topsoil in a slow, controlled release. This makes comfrey one of the most powerful green manures ever used. When I buried it, I unknowingly triggered the same process medieval farmers used to build the black loam soils that supported entire villages. The reason comfrey works so well when buried whole is that the plant decomposes at a moderate speed. Unlike fast-decaying kitchen scraps that burn through oxygen and leave pockets of sour rot, comfrey creates a steady breakdown that feeds fungal networks and beneficial bacteria. Those microorganisms, in turn, build the darker humus layers that give soil its black appearance. What starts as a leaf becomes a microbial city that transforms the biological signature of the land. The process begins with understanding how to bury comfrey for maximum effect. The simplest method requires no turning, no chopping, and no mixing. The weed is laid into a shallow trench between 4 and 6 inches deep. So, keeping it shallow is key because, well, microbial activity is strongest at the upper soil layers. A single large comfrey leaf, or, just a handful of smaller pieces, works just fine. The trench is covered with the original soil, and if you've got it, topped with a thin layer of rough organic matter, such as straw or even wood chips. That outer layer, it really protects the microorganisms from those heat swings, and, importantly, helps hold moisture in the soil. Over the next 30 to 90 days, the buried comfrey transitions through different phases of microbial activity. Bacteria begin the breakdown, then fungi spread through the tissues, and eventually earthworms arrive to finish the job. This combination, well, it creates a structural shift in the soil. Clods soften, grains bind into crumb. Over time, the ground develops this dark coloration that farmers have traditionally associated with fields that, well, rest well and feed well. The soil turns black because humus formation really accelerates around decomposing comfrey. What you're seeing when the soil darkens is not rot. It's actually stabilized carbon attaching itself to mineral particles. Comfrey's mineral-rich leaves, you see, feed microorganisms that produce these sticky compounds, which bind the soil together. Historically, black soil was a prized indicator of land that could be pushed to high production with, minimal inputs. In some regions, like the black earth belts of Eastern Europe, farmers guarded these dark soils fiercely, seeing them as the lifeblood of their families. When comfrey is buried in a controlled manner, the same process occurs on a micro scale. What surprised me most was how localized the effect could be. The bed that once struggled began producing stronger roots and better water retention exactly where the comfrey had been buried. It proved that a small targeted action can create lasting change, even in soil that has seen years of neglect. Applying this method today is simple and works across climates and growing systems. Anyone managing a homestead, backyard garden or survival plot can use comfrey to rebuild spent soil. The steps are straightforward. First, locate a patch of ground that has compacted, faded in colour, or stopped responding to normal amendments. Second, harvest 1 or 2 comfrey leaves, ideally mature ones with a deep green colour, since these hold the most nutrients. Third, dig a shallow trench, bury the leaves, and lightly tamp the soil back in place. So, for those working with larger plots, you can create comfrey burial lanes every 2 to 3 feet. This allows the plant to enrich long stretches of ground, without the need for tilling. And for container gardeners, simply fold a small comfrey leaf beneath the top layer of soil in your large pots to revive those exhausted mixes. Livestock keepers who run fodder systems can even incorporate comfrey burial into field rotations, so each paddock restores itself naturally over time. This method stays historically grounded while offering modern, practical results. Old husbandry practices always had a rhythm: observe the land, find the least wasteful solution, and repeat it patiently. Burying comfrey fits that tradition. It requires no purchase fertilizer, causes no disruption to soil structure, and produces long-lasting improvements that persist into the following seasons. It is the kind of technique farmers once passed down through families, not because it was complicated, but because it simply worked. If you want soil that darkens to the colour of old river silt, if you want beds that breathe again, and if you want a method as old as traditional agriculture itself, this is one of the easiest ways to begin. If you found this guide useful, subscribe to Husbandry and share this video with others who value real, time-tested land knowledge.